Who says cops are conservative when it comes to cars? In 1971, the Alabama State Troopers went out on a limb. They became the first law enforcement agency in the country to choose a pony car. It was the Amc Javelin. All I can say about that filly is giddy up.
The Amc Javelin was involved in some of the most hard driving pursuits on record. The Javelin was a pony car, like the Ford Mustang. Pony cars were smaller cousins of muscle cars. But they were just as fast because they had big engines. Because they were smaller, they were also less expensive. At the time, muscle cars were popular among police departments, but they cost an arm and a leg. The Alabama State Troopers were in the market for something new and cheap. The American Motors Company also found themselves in a tight financial squeeze. Their mainstay vehicle, the Gremlin, was a bust, and losing the company big money. So the Alabama Troopers and AMC joined forces and transformed the 1971 Javelin into an intimidating set of wheels.
This is one of the most unique and unusual cars ever used by law enforcement. It has a lot of special features on it that we would never again see in a law enforcement vehicle.
These elements were featured in the Javelin's so-called Go package. This included special components like a 3-speed automatic transmission, dual exhaust, and heavy-duty brakes and springs. Most important of all was its 401 cubic inch V8.
It's one of the most powerful engines ever produced by American Motors, and it propelled this car to 141 miles an hour. One of the most important parts was this radiator, a 3-core radiator that gave it much larger flow capacity, much larger coolant capacity. It kept these police Javelins from overheating on a long pursuit.
The dark blue and silver Javelin looked ultra hip thanks to one of its signature features.
You didn't find these on police cars at the time, and that's this spoiler, which redirects airflow. The official version from the Alabama Troopers is that they had to have this spoiler so people could see the emblem. I think they had to have it because it was cool.
The Javelin also introduced new lighting technology. The dual red can lights of the 60s were out. And the Javelin used the large 4-bolt light system with a blue lens.
The emergency light on this car has a blue lens, 4 bulbs. The lens has bulbs that are horizontally mounted, and that allows the traffic in front and beside the trooper on a level ground to see it.
This seemed like the perfect pony car to catch crooks. But once you caught him, where'd you put him?
As you can see, this car is a 2-door. 2-door raises the question, how do you get prisoners in the back seat? Well, the reality was very few prisoners were put in the back seat of an Alabama trooper car. In fact, one trooper said he put the prisoner in the trunk. And he was serious.
They'd never get a guy like me in that puny trunk. So when Alabama State Troopers had to make an arrest, they typically called for backup. That's a good thing. The Javelins weren't fitted with gun mounts, so the good old boys from Alabama just tossed their shotguns right in the trunk.
The Alabama State Troopers were proud of their hot rod vehicle. No car ever outran the Javelin, but one came awfully close. It was 1973. A Pontiac GTO Judge, a stripped-down muscle car of the era, made a moving violation. Alabama State Trooper Captain Doug Nelson was ready and waiting and peeled off after him. He alerted the police dispatcher using his 2-way radio.
It's a 1970 GTO Judge, 400 cubic inches, very powerful muscle car. Was pitted against the Javelin with a 401, 255 horsepower. Both ran a quarter mile in 14 seconds. Both were pretty evenly matched.
'72 Javelin chased the GTO Judge across the hills of Alabama. For 15 hair-raising minutes, at speeds of 100 miles per hour, the GTO Judge couldn't pull away, nor could the Javelin close the gap.
As these pursuits so often happen, it ended because the fleeing driver made a mistake.
The GTO Judge pulled onto an unfamiliar road. As the Judge sped towards a dead end, the driver lost control and crashed in a field. It was all over. Once again, the Javelin ruled the day. But the pony car also racked up its own share of wrecks. In general, the back end of the Javelins got light on dirt and gravel roads. And the Javelin's Corvette-style front fender humps were unstable. Eventually, the Javelins got a nasty reputation of being easy to crash. In 1974, the pony car was put out to pasture. The AMC Javelin is now part of cop car history. By the late 1970s, one of the fastest cop cars in history would be ready for active duty.
So stay tuned if you know what's good for you.